Hi everyone, Ashley Mailloux here, ready for another pick three this weekend. Last week we looked at Charlestown. This week, go to the West Coast, out to Del Mar. Saturday is Pacific Classic Day, and looked at a couple of the pick threes. And I did consider the late pick three, but it's a $3 minimum, and I just didn't know if it was the sequence that I wanted. And I kind of looked earlier on the program and actually focused in on a different pick three. I didn't want to go early either. I wanted to include the Pacific Classic, so I looked at races 8, 9, and 10. And race 8 really was attractive to me, as well as the 9th. Big fields in both, and I think these are the races that you want a little bit more coverage, and that's the decision that I made. So looking at race number 8, it's for the 2-year-old fillies, Calbred or Cal Sired. They'll race on the main track at 6 furlongs, and it's a field of 11. And you look at here, and you got what you would expect, a little bit of everything. First-time starters, second-time starters, and then a couple horses with a little bit more foundation. I typically feel like race day experience gives horses the edge unless there's some massive pedigree or hot workout tab, you name it. Typically, I would still side with the runners that have races under their belt, and that's certainly going to be the case with the morning line favorite, the 5, Miss Kona. She's going to be heavily played in here, and I think her debut, if you watch the replay from August 10th, visually quite impressive. She was almost dead last early on, and the way that she closed in the stretch, I was really, really impressed. Yes, she got the fractions, almost 21 and change, 45 and 1, but just visually watching her, I loved the way that she got over the track, especially in the stretch. So I'll use her here. Peter Urton having a really great meet, does well with the maiden second time out. I think there's a lot to like about Miss Kona, but I'm also going to take a horse in here that I think is going to be a price. Exits that same race. She was 5th best. It's the number 3, Cecilia Street, who's a 2-year-old daughter of Stanford, who has pretty good numbers. Looking at the 2-year-olds, and blinkers are going to go on. She didn't break very well. She didn't break horribly. It wasn't like she was, 5 steps too slow out of the gate, but she was slow. And then from there, she sort of got a mid-pack trip, and she ran okay. She was 30 to 1 in there, but I mentioned it. She's going to get blinkers on. I like the equipment change. Love that her last 2 works have been pretty quick. I know one was before the last race, but the most recent drill was really a step up. 46 and 4, the 5th fastest of 84 workers. And then you can see the barn does pretty well again with maiden second time out, 20%. So I thought this horse was intriguing. I know if you're looking at the replay, probably isn't going to catch your eye the same way that Miss Kona does, but I'm willing to use her here, especially at 12 to 1 on the morning line. So I'm just going to go too deep in here. Maybe you want to look at the number 4, Dancing Daisy, who was second on the debut. That was on the turf. She could certainly take a step forward as well, but she will be making a surface switch. So ultimately decided to keep it with just the 3 and the 5. We'll move to race number 9. It's the Green Flash Handicap Grade 3 event, 5 furlongs on the turf, and big field in here, obviously overloaded as 15 entered, 12 are in the main body. And I find it really tough to decide who to pick. Obviously, the 10 Motorius is going to take a lot of play, the runner-up in last year's Breeder Cup Turf Sprint. And then since then, 2 wins. But he's had some time off, right? We saw him in December after the Breeders' Cup. We didn't see him until June, and now he's coming back off. But I think Motorius, the one thing about this gelding is his running style. He's always in a good spot. Yes, he can roll from off of it, but go down the past performances. Sometimes he's more forward, sometimes he's sitting mid-pack, but he's typically, 2 to 5 lengths off the early pace. And I think that's really important in these sprints. No, his last 2 were 6.5 on the downhill, but he absolutely loves it at Del Mar. 3 for 4 over this turf course. And I think he, is a horse that you have to use here in the pick 3, but I do think there are others to consider, kind of going more towards the inside of that one. The 9 First Piece looked very good winning in September, but now has to roll off the long layoff. And as you go through the past performances, the one good thing is this horse can run off of freshening. When you look at the 2 breaks, had no issues running and came back even with one of them with a really big number. He's 2 for 3 in the money at Del Mar. I think he'll need the pace help, and that's what happened last time out in the Eddie D. I mean, they went very, very quick early on, 21 and 3, 43 and 2, and he was rolling there. I do wonder if this distance is ideal for him. I think that might kind of shy people away a little bit, but if the pace is hot and it comes back to the field, First Piece can show a really, really good late turn of foot, so I'll use him. And then the 7, Boss Sully, hot take. I know he hasn't won a stakes race as you go down the past performances, but he had ran a really big second 2 back at Churchill when they shipped him, and then more recently at Del Mar, he was able to win. And I know it's not a stakes race again, but he faces three of those horses once again, the second, third, and fifth place finishers. And just to look at the way he did it, I like that he had a target in front of him that was Virat. And then he was just able to get to him late and looked good doing so. So I'm willing to give him a shot in here. I think he's going to be a better price than the other two that I mentioned. And finally, when you think of turf sprints, you think about the pace complexion. I don't know if he'll make an easy lead in here. I have a feeling Booksmart is going to try to go with him. But the number 3 Coppola at 10-1 on the morning line, I have to give him a shot. He's never raced at Del Mar. You go down his past performances, though, they've taken him all over the place. And his performance in the William Garrett was very good. A sub 43 half on that turf course. Third place finisher came back to win next out. He looked very good. And speed is the name of the game for him. I think the concern is, does he get an easy lead? I don't know. I think he's going to be pressured. But if for some reason he's on top and they're not pushing him, he could be a very, very big threat, especially at the 5 furlong distance. I think 5 furlong suits him very well. So he's going to offer value. So that's how I see the second leg. I will use the 3, 7, 9, and 10. And then finally, the big one, Grade 1 Pacific Classic, 1.25 miles for 3-year-olds and upward. And there's the big 3 in here. You have Fierceness, Nisos, and Journalism. And I toyed around with this. Gina Bacola and I did a preview on the Pacific Classic, which is the Saturday race of the day here at the Daily Racing Forum, and it's a little bit of a struggle. I definitely can't use all 3 of them. I thought about trying to single. If I were to single, it would probably be Nisos, just based on what we saw last time out, the fact that he has the 1 blemish on his resume, and I'm still extremely impressed by that effort, considering he shipped, the track conditions, and the way that he was rolling late, and the quality that he faced in there. Go look at the field. But I still go back to Journalism, and I just wonder if this pace does get to be a little contested and on the quick side. We know that he has a very big stride. He's a grinder in the stretch. He'll motor by horses, and he'll just kind of keep on doing it. He's got a really long capacity there to keep on grinding away, where I don't think it's a short-lived, he's got like 5 quick spurts. I mean, he continues to do what he needs to do. And for that reason, I decided to use him. Like I said, originally I was going to single Nisos, but I went back in here, and there's something about Journalism. He scares me a little bit. Obviously, both of these horses have to answer some big questions. In terms of Journalism, he's going to face his elders. And in the case of Nisos, got to go longer than 1 1/16 miles. Now from 1 1/16 miles to 1.25 miles. But both are very impressive. Others may use Fierceness in here, and I understand why. There's just something for me. I don't always trust him. Based on those couple of races on his past performances. And I didn't love his performance last time out, but if he were to win this, I wouldn't be shocked. These are the big 3, awesome edition of the Pacific Classic. So just Nisos and Journalism for me. We'll take a look at the full ticket. So with this being the sequence of races 8, 9, and 10, 50-cent minimum. So I will go 2 deep over 4 deep over 2. So an $8 play here for that 50-cent base wager. And it's a great race. I think maybe, folks, you can kind of reconstruct this the way that you want. Really focus in on who you like in the Classic, but in the other races, maybe you want more coverage in the maiden race. Maybe you have a stronger opinion than I do in the turf race. But one thing's for sure, that's a great card this Saturday at Del Mar. All the best.